Yes, all we're talking about is the security situation of the country as a whole, the Southwest. But then the news coming from the Fountain of Knowledge, talking about Ekiti State in the past few days or a week thereabout, has not been exciting. Two monarchs lost their lives, and after they were attacked, by the way, another monarch escaped by the whiskers, and then school pupils were attacked, abducted with their teachers as well. Over the weekend, we learned they were released, and the driver killed. In fact, there is a report that says the driver was shot dead and the body burned. Now, we can't independently verify that, but so these are the issues that we are dealing with. And to give us a sense of what is really happening is a son of the soil, of course, a senator from Ekiti State, former senator rather. We're talking about Senator BABAFEMI OJUDU, who represented the good people of Ekiti Central at the National Assembly at some point. Good morning, Senator. Good to have you, Jonas.
Good morning.
Thank you very much. Now, it appears your darling state, the fountain of knowledge, known for education, known for industry, is besieged right now, like under siege. Monarchs attacked, pupils of schools abducted, although they have been released, but not without fatality. And now the attack on the monarch is more like a sacrilege. And now people are wondering, Ekiti, what is wrong? Senator, how did we get here?
Well, good morning once again, and I'm happy to be on your show.
Thank you.
We thank God for His mercies, particularly for the freedom that He has granted those school kids, and we commiserate with the family of the driver who was killed, and also for the kings who are also killed. It's so unfortunate that this is happening, and it's a matter that is of concern to all of us. People are on edge, people are fearing for their lives, and that's not just about Ekiti. I picked up a piece of news yesterday that 47 wedding guests in Katsina were kidnapped, some of them were killed. They've still not been found, and everywhere the story you hear from the south to the middle belt, to the northwest, northeast, north central, everywhere. The story you have is that of kidnap and robbery and brigandage, banditry, and all of that. It's of concern. Everybody is really concerned. What is happening in this country? Where are we? Where are we going? What is the government of the day doing about all of these problems? Is it beyond what they can solve? And of course, I can't conclude this without giving a special appreciation to the governor of Ekiti, who rose to the occasion, jumping from Abuja to Ekiti, going to Lagos, going to the villages, trying to see that things are managed properly. I mean, it's an example in how to govern. Be on his feet every minute of the day, every second, every hour, to see that he comforts the family of the kings who were killed, and also ensure that those kids were found and were not harmed, although the driver was killed. We can't thank him enough. That is the way to govern. Be on your feet, 24 hours. Sing to the to the comfort of your people, to their security, to their well-being, and not being an absentee governor, not quitting your duty and saying that what concerns me, for as long as I'm okay, every other person could suffer. But this guy really took up the challenge, and for me, it was a good trial for him and for people to see that he's really capable. Yeah, thank you.
All right, your darling Ule, land of honor and integrity. Now, the news coming from there, quite disheartening. Yes, you made mention of other security concerns in other parts of the country, but no, Taraba, Kaduna, even the FCT as well.
Yeah.
But when we say across the line of the Southwest, when that dastardly act happened in Owo, Ondo State, people were a bit, agitated. Like, is the Southwest, being targeted? Now that we see these things happen, if I went Governor Banchi went to a particular community that lost their king, you could see the women there. If a particular woman rose up to address the king and say, if our kings are being killed, what becomes we, the subject as well? People are concerned. And we spoke to the public relations officer of the Nigerian police in Ekiti State, DCP Abutu, last week. It was like the case was more like that of a murder. That was what he told us. So let me ask, Senator, do you think Ekiti is being targeted, or the fact that it's a transiting route, because we know the position of Ekiti along these lines, do you think it opens it up to this kind of attack? But firstly, is Ekiti
I do not see anything special or anything peculiar in what happened in Ekiti. As I said earlier on, the entire country is enveloped by violence. It's just that it has experienced relative peace over the years, and this is just one time when this is visiting us. I think that we must all be concerned about the state of the nation now. It's everywhere. It's all over the country. It's not just here. If you are not talking of Yahoo boys kidnapping people, harvesting their body parts, people are being murdered, people are being robbed. Just name it. Every state. I mean, I read the papers, conscientiously every day. I read the news. I get close to the news, and everywhere I can pick up stories about pastors found with the head of somebody, or young men found with the limbs of somebody in Ogun State, in your state. Everywhere is enveloped by violence. So for me, I think we need to look at it comprehensively and find a long-lasting solution to this problem. What is the cause of all of these dastardly acts in our country? Is it because the economy is very bad? Is it because everybody is being driven into poverty? Are people looking for desperate ways to get out of poverty, and that's why they are resorting to kidnapping, to murder, to whatever it is? If you look at the case of the urbans, yes, it looks like murder. It may not appear like kidnap. It's also part of the problems we are having. Why are people murdering people for no reason? Is it a question over the use of land, or what is it about? We need to answer these questions. We need to call. It's not about treating each case, by itself. Let's look at the fundamental cause of this problem. Let's not look at the symptoms. Let's look at the cause. What is it exactly that is causing all of the problems that putting every Nigerian on the edge? You are afraid to travel by road. You are afraid to walk around your neighborhood. You are suspicious of everybody around you. If you have house helps now, you are not comfortable with them. They are killing their employees and everywhere. I just had a case of somebody close to me who I learned was murdered by his guard, macheted and left locked in the house and stole everything and ran away. These things are happening everywhere. There is a problem in this country. There is something fundamental is wrong, and our leaders, we leaders, must sit down and examine these issues and find permanent solutions to them. It's not enough to just solve problem case by case. We need to do more than that. It's of great concern. People are angry. People are suffering. People are deprived. People cannot even afford to live a decent life any longer. And the more poverty eats into all of us, the more crime we are going to see in our society. People want to survive. They want to be able to meet their daily needs. Yeah. And there are some among us who cannot endure. The moment they have problems, they want to do anything to survive. And that's why you are having kidnappings, you are having murder, you are having rape, you are having all sorts of things. And this our leaders must look into before it is too late.
All right, Senator, it's often said that for you to successfully prefer a solution to a problem, you must understand the problem. You must understand the causes, the root causes of this problem. And you have also mentioned that it seems we do not really understand what are the causes of this growing insecurity all over Nigeria? Because you said that it's not only in Ekiti State, it's just that Ekiti has experienced peace for a while, and this particular security situation made it blow up, and people are focused right now on Ekiti State. So would you say that our leaders understand the cause roots of these problems, or they are just looking at the symptoms like you have mentioned earlier? And how do you think they can survey and understand the cause roots, the causes of this problem, so that they can prefer successfully solutions to them, to the problems?
Well, I think if you are still hearing me,
yes,
we have to look at our policing system. We have to look at judiciary. Quite often, a crime is committed. You hear that those who committed those crimes have been arrested, and you never get to know what happened to them. What happened to them? Were they tried? Were they jailed? Were they made to pay for those crimes? You never get to know. If a criminal knows that he can go away with his crime, then he will commit more crime. And those who have not committed will also advance to committing crimes. Let's look at our policing system. It's very important. Quite often policemen themselves are becoming criminals. Judges are getting more and more corrupt. They are ready to be paid to refuse to give justice to those who have committed crime. We must do an overhaul in our system. It has never been like this. There have been cases in the past when very important people, when people have been taken to court in this country and are paid for their crime. But these days, criminals are going away with their crime because, the people who are in charge of our policing are involved. Our judges are ready to be paid to free criminals at any time using all manners of technicalities. And we need to also look at the economy. Nigerians are dying. They are getting crushed under this economic situation in the country now. People are lamenting. I keep getting messages from people, Senator, please, I've not eaten. My children have not eaten. Send me 1,000 naira, send me 2,000 naira. You see elders calling you, crying on phone, asking to be helped so that they can feed. Some are sick. I've received a message this morning, I'm diabetic, I can no longer buy my drugs. I have all this ailment and that ailment. I cannot afford to buy my drugs. And those of us who are perceived to have means also have limited means. We cannot take care of all these things. So let our leaders look at the condition of our people, look at the economy, and see how they can bring us out of these doldrums. The clock is ticking, and we do not have time. I pray that there is no blowout in this country. If there is a blowout, those of us who are perceived to be doing well, those of us who are seen as riding good cars or living in good homes, we've been the victims. Nobody will discriminate between those who are in government and those who are not in government, or between those who meant well for them and those who doesn't mean well for them. So it is time that we look at these problems and find solutions. As I said, the clock is ticking and time is not on our side.
All right. Thank you, Senator. Like you mentioned, it is not the best of times for Nigerians. Recently, the Chief of Staff to Mr. President, when he was responding to journalists, he said for things to get better, sometimes they have to get bad. And he mentioned the fact that the foundations somewhat are not good. So for us to actually get things on track, for us to get things better, it has to get bad, because we have to go back to the root, we have to go back to the foundation, try to correct it. And over time, we've heard Mr. President say that we have to tighten our belt at this time, because this is the time we need to make sacrifices. What will you say to that?
Yeah, well, I think I do not agree with the logic of the chief of staff, as you quoted him to have said. You don't kill a patient before you treat him. If a patient is dead, what extent, of what importance is your medication or your treatment of him? A patient is dead, and you are saying that you want to treat him. Must he take the death of every Nigerian before we then find solutions to their ailments? I don't, particularly in the face of affluence, when we are all the leaders are displaying affluence everywhere. We are hearing of 50-something billion budget for this, for that, for innovation, for building things that only affect the life of a few people, or when people are hearing that 34 billion naira is being transferred to private accounts, or that somebody, is transferring, have a billion naira from government account to our own personal account. No, these things does not give, sound well to the people, or give an idea of sacrifice on the. If you are calling on people to sacrifice, you yourself must be seen to have made some sacrifice. That is it. I mean, look. I mean, we were here when the young man in Burkina Faso was president. I'm trying to remember his name now, and he discarded all the luxuries around him. He opted for a Renault car, to drive around town. He was driving himself and everything, and the Burkinabés loved him for doing so, and they were ready to make sacrifices. But if you go around exhibiting all manners of obscene wealth and power, and then you are calling on people to sacrifice, they will not take you seriously. They won't. So rather than taking yourself out of the problem, living a life of affluence, and then calling on people to sacrifice and until they die, just also show some kind of seriousness, some kind of concern. Show through personal example that you are also sacrificing. Nigerians are very reasonable people. If they see that you are sacrificing, they will follow you. Go take your mind back to the First Republic. You do not. If an Awolowo call on the Western region to sacrifice, they will see him as genuine because he had a plan. That all of them can key into. I'm going to train your children in school free of charge. I'm going to provide free medical care. I'm going to, organize your community for you so that farmers can have inputs. They can have security. I'm going to create marketing board for you. And all of that are laid out for people to understand. Let them who are governing now tell us what are the plans, how logical are their plans, how good are those plans, and till when are we going to be seeing the outcome or the benefits of those plans? You don't just go out there, with platitudes and telling people to sacrifice. Sacrifice for what? What are you doing for me? People are providing their electricity, they are providing their water, they are providing their medical care, they are providing virtually everything. You are taxing them even upon that. Leopard do not prevail to provide light. They come at the end of the month, they collect money from you for services not provided. And you are saying people should continue to sacrifice. How? Here I am, a former journalist, a former senator. I've paid twice for prepaid meter 3 times in the last 3 years. It has never been delivered to me. Each time I paid, they will say I should wait. They will come back again and say I should pay another money. I've paid 3 times. If they can do that to me, what will they not do to poor people out there? Nobody is controlling all of these things. Nobody is asking these questions. I live in a place where life barely come for up to 2 hours in a day. Yet they give me very huge bill every month, and I cannot protest. I don't know who to run to, who to protest to. And you are saying we should sacrifice. Sacrifice for what? What are you doing that will make us even have faith in you, that will allow us to sacrifice? Please, let me ask those who are coming up with that theory that we should continue to sacrifice. And back to what I said earlier on, you don't have to kill the patient before you provide treatment for them.
Yeah.
For their ailments.
Yeah, that's right. Succinctly put there. You don't have to kill a patient for you to show that you are caring for them. And good to note that you said some of you who are, people of influence, who people refer to as big men in society, you just said how you get save our soul messages from people on a daily. You have even said this morning, your message has been sent messages of help from people. Just like my colleague said, the people at the end of affairs at the national are saying, give us time. These things are bad. But the question is, Senator, I don't know if you know that since this current administration took over till now, although they gave their reasons, but the thing is, to the people on the street, to the people at Ise, to the people at Faju Inado, to the people at Inyi, they might not want to understand these figures and these indices and this grammar. What they've known is things are getting tougher. They can't afford basic things of life. 3 square meters have turned to 2 or 1. That is even the square is square enough again. And you've said right now, Senator, that we don't have time. Nigerians, tighten your belt. The belt is even no more available. But the people at the of affairs are saying it's going to get better. I want to ask you, you are within your people. You live among them. They tell you things. You see for yourself. How long can Nigerians wait? Because you said, we started with security, that these might be the things that are fueling insecurity right now. How longer should a Nigerian wait?
Well, I mean, we don't have much time anymore. We don't have much time. If you are conversant with the social media, people are coming out to complain, to agitate, to curse, to abuse, and say all kinds of things about our leaders. I don't know, what do you expect somebody who suffers from diabetes, who 9 months ago, a year ago, was buying his medication for less than 5,000 naira, and is now being asked to bring 30,000 naira, you know? Somebody who suffers from asthma, who could avoid this inhaler for less than 5,000 a year ago, and is being asked to pay 25,000 naira for inhaler now. You know, I saw a video of somebody walking on the street and fell down from asthma, and somebody had to jump out of the bus to, lend, her own inhaler to sustain this fellow, to revive him. Things are getting bad. People are falling sick. They can't afford simple medication. The elderly could not, and pensioners could not afford their medication anymore. And there is nobody who is offering any assistance. And people are saying they should continue to sacrifice. Time is running out. We are calling on our leaders to do something now. Do something now before they blow out. This country may blow out any moment from now. I engage people every day. They are complaining. They are bitter. Those who say Osama yesterday are now saying crucify him today. They are not happy. They don't even want to know whether the leader or those who are leading us are from their ethnic group anymore. Their own concern is that we no longer could feed our children. We no longer could have even a meal, not talk of 3 square meals a day. We no longer could, live a decent life. School fees are not being paid, and people are groaning. How do you explain to young children that you do not have money to buy them, basic items to keep them going? These are the issues. These are things that needed to be addressed. And they keep hearing of all manners of humongous figures that government is spending. And Senate is spending this on vehicles. Senate is allocating also billions to themselves. Office of this important man is receiving 15 billion, 20 billion for this and that. How do you explain to such people that this is not deliberate, that the government just does not care about them? And you see officials in convoys of 20 cars, 15 cars on the road, some celebrating parties. It took a lot of outcry last week to stop a minister from having a big party for her husband at the Transcorp Hotel in Abuja. She had sent out invitation to people on official letterhead, and suddenly when it got to people, they started sharing that all over and shouting and condemning the person. She now had to cancel the party. Do you have to wait for people, to shout you down before you know what is right at this time and what is not right? So it is now the concern of everybody, whether you are Yoruba, Hausa, Fulani, Kanuri, Ijaw, or whatever. There is no poverty does not discriminate against anybody. Yeah. When the crush comes, it affects all. It doesn't matter where you come from. Now, it's not just about poor people alone. Even the so-called rich are feeling the heat. They are feeling the heat. A friend of mine called me in Northern, top Northern, and said, Senator, what is the situation down in Southwest? And I said, the poor are groaning. He said, oh, so it's just the poor in the Southwest. He said, here in the North, the poor, there is no difference between the poor and the rich anymore. That a lot of Northern elites are putting out their property to sell so as to feed their families and their children to school. But nobody is buying. That things are getting worse for everybody. So we need to do something. It's very important. Let our leaders come out and address us and tell us, how they are going to solve this problem. It's not enough to wake up and come with all kinds of funny policies on a daily basis that is not pursued of coming up with policy statements, saying this and saying that, and people are no longer believing in them, we can then also allow ourselves to be dictated to by the IMF and the World Bank, who are not feeling the impact of this crunch, and ask us to take more from the poor, to fit the greed of the rich. Please, I'm passionate about this. I'm crying out. Please, let's find a solution before it is too late.
All right, Senator BABAFEMI OJUDU, it's really passionate cry there. I like the fact that you somewhat quoted the scripture earlier, and when you said those that said Hosanna are still the one that are now saying crucify him. That's talking to the cult on social media, still using scriptural references. I want to say, when the foundation is destroyed, what can the righteous do? And some Nigerians believe that you were part of the foundation. I mean, you are a former senator, and also you also were in the administration of the immediate past president, Muhammadu Buhari. And they would ask you, these are what Nigerians are saying, what did you do when you were there? I mean, because those in the office right now are saying, it is what we met that we are working with, and we're trying to correct it. So they will also point accusing fingers to BABAFEMI OJUDU.
What happened in the past cannot be an excuse, too much of an excuse for what is happening today. I'm not condemning anybody. Okay. I'm not justifying what somebody in the past did. What I'm saying is that we elites, we politicians, we have failed our people. We have failed our people. And we have to quickly find a solution. We cannot exculpate anybody. From 1999 to date, we have not done the right things. I was an advisor in government. I saw government in and out, and many of us, even within, were full of complaints, were full of agitation. But you see, you cannot say somebody who governed, anybody who has governed between 1999 today has done the right things. I'm telling you that, on my words of honor, we have not committed ourselves truly to our people. I give you an example earlier on of just the 4 years of governance by BABAFEMI OJUDU, with his lieutenants. There must be a crop of Nigerians who are committed to this country. It must be a movement so that we can once and for all solve the problem of our people. It doesn't be that people who just want to serve themselves, want to acquire more housing, many cars, have homes in the choice areas in Europe and America, in Ghana, in the Banana Island, in GRA of Ikeja and all of that. We all must be dedicated to the cause of our people. That's what I'm advocating. I'm not saying one government is better than the other. I'm not even condemning those who are here now. I'm pleading passionately with them to realize that there is a serious problem in this country. Let's all come together. Let's sacrifice. The sacrifice now should not be the poor. Those who are supposed to sacrifice should no longer be the poor Nigerians. It should be those of us who are elites. And it has to be done fast. I mean, I'm a farmer now. Since I left government, I've been going to the farm. Even it is difficult now to do the farming because there is insecurity. And if we do not have adequate security to enable people to go and farm, there will be shortage of food. Whatever is available will be too expensive to be avoided by the people. So let us solve the problem. Let us forget about the blame game. Yes, people in the past may not have done well. Those who are there now, they came with the agenda to do better than the past. So what are they doing? What will they do? That is what the people want to know now, not about condemning those who are there in the past. Let's mobilize everybody. Let's mobilize all the brains and the brains in this country towards solving the problem of Nigerians. If we fail to do so, it's unimaginable what will happen in this country. It's unimaginable. May God help us. May God, allow our leaders to reason well and act fast. If we do not, it will push the people to the wall. The outcome may not serve this country very well. And unfortunately, there is no organized opposition now. If there is a blowout, who do you talk to? How do you manage it? So it could engender a situation where we will have warlords everywhere. and there'll be disaster, and violence every place. And all of us, whether poor, rich, or woman, Ijo or Yoruba or Asafulani, will be endangered. That's my cry.
All right. Yes, I'd like to speak to you. We won't have you on this program without speaking to what is happening in the Southwest, the Dawn Commission, what they are doing, and security in Southwest as well. And of course, your first love, which is journalism. But before we leave national matters, you have spoken on it, that this is not about blame game. You guys have said you can do better than previous administration and the administration in which you are taking over. So all the best. But I'd like to ask you, do you feel sometimes personally attacked because you served in the last administration, and this same administration, the last one under President Muhammadu Buhari, is appearing or has appeared to be thrown under the bus by the guys that are there right now? They didn't do it well. They did a bad job. The economy was left in ruins, and you served under the administration. When you hear handlers of this particular administration, the government, speak in this manner, like they are throwing the former administration under the bus, do you feel concerned? Do you feel attacked?
Well, I think for me, the best way to condemn the government that came in the past is to do better than that government. That's the best way. If you say your father was useless, was lazy, and never provided for the family, the best way to deal with that is to do better than your father, and come out a serious person, successful person who take care of the family.
Right.
How long? Okay. I mean, maybe we had Obasanjo in 1999 to 2007. Yeah. The government that succeeds him will say, oh, Obasanjo didn't do well. Then another government succeeds, oh, Yar'Adua didn't do well. Oh, Jonathan didn't do well. Oh, Buhari didn't do well. So what are we talking about? So we are all then saying we are all failures. Isn't there time for some people to come together and say, let's do better than those who were there before? So I still stand by what I said earlier on. Let's stop the blame game. Let's stop. If the government in the past has done very well, you will not come to be solving the same problem. And if you offer yourself and you went around the country campaigning, making promises, and asked to be voted for, it is believed that before you do that, you will have looked at the problems facing the country. You will have discussed and come out with solutions to these problems, and then attack these problems, solve the problem. It is then people can say, oh, this man has done well. Under the past government, this was where we were. This is where he has taken us. That is the only way. That's right. Just getting up, not solving problems, and condemning past government, it does not amount to anything.
All right.
Blame game will not put food on the table of the people. It will not, solve the problem of insecurity. It will not solve the problem of health facing our people. It will not solve the problem of education. So what are we talking about? Let those who had offered themselves to serve, because they were also living in this country when they claimed the government that didn't do well, and they offered to give a better leadership to solve problems, and that's what we are calling on them to do. Right. Let's solve problems. Blame game will not be written after your name when you have left as an achievement. It will not.
All right.
People will say you did well when you were there. No, people will not say you blamed well. Blaming is not, jumping here and there, doing blame game can never be an achievement of any government.
All right, Senator. Quick ones, 2 questions.
Yes.
When we started with Ekiti State, and I'd like you to speak about governance in Ekiti State. How will you rate the performance of Governor Abiodun Yebanji so far? Firstly, as a true son of the soil and as a critical stakeholder, how will you rate him, politics aside right now? And number 2, we have the Dawn Commission at the Southwest, seeking to the social enterprise and getting people of the Southwest to get better. Late Governor Akeredolu, God rest his soul, was so vocal, especially about security. He didn't, want to hear. Even people in his own party at that time, he faced them square on, and people saw him like general in the Southwest, seeing that Southwest is not overrun by criminals and bandits. But now he has passed on, and with what we are seeing in some part of the Southwest as well, do you think the governors of the Southwest really, I don't want to say care, are really concerned that the legacy, I'm talking about security and being vocal, speaking for the people of the Southwest, that Governor Ekiti was known for. Do you see any of these governors getting into their shoes and being bold about the issues that confronts the people? But firstly, the performance of Governor Yebanji so far.
Okay, well, if you know me very well, I'm not the one that that get into the business of praising people. I have been I've been in Ekiti in the last 9 months. I've visited Ekiti more than any time in my adult years, and what I've seen is a ray of hope for the people of Ekiti. I've come to see that for the first time since 1999, we have a governor who understands the terrain, who understands the people, who is willing to solve problems, and who is willing to help. And also who understands that he cannot do it alone. Who understand that people belonging to different parties or belonging to different caucuses, even in the same party, are no enemies. And I'm impressed. And this is, my praises are not cheap. If you know my background very well, right. The man who is here is doing quite a lot. He's doing quite a lot to reshape the state, to refocus, the politics of the state and the administration of this state. If you go on the street of the state and ask questions now, they will tell you that so far this has been the best. And he seems to have studied all of the governors who have governed here since 1999. He seems to have understood their pitfalls. He seems to, because he was born here, he schooled here and lived all his adult life in this state. He seems to have a grasp of the problems, a grasp of the psychology and sociology of the state. And by so doing, he has been able to really plant himself in the heart of the people. And there is still a lot to be done, no doubt about that. But I think that, he's gradually touching the lives of the people. I pray that he remains the way he is now, and that nobody derails him, no group or individuals derails him. If he does this for the remaining of the 4 years, and we continue to bless him with resources to do so, he may end up being the best governor that has run the state. I'm particularly happy, somehow for the first time since 1999 that we have a governor who has the capacity to empathize with the people and to respect the people. Yes.
All right. And about the Southwest.
Yeah, you were going to say something. Yeah.
Yes, what is going on in the Southwest, having a leader that speaks for the people, just like the late Ekiti used to do.
Yes, I think the governor should band together a bit more, understand that what is Oyo also is Ekiti State, and what is Osun is Ondo State, what is Lagos is all the states in the Southwest. They should come together. There are so much they can do in the area of security, in the area of transportation, in the area of road infrastructure. It's disheartening, traveling from Ibadan to Ekiti, and you are spending 4 hours on a journey that should be for just about 2 or 2.5 hours, and you are running into potholes here and there. Vehicles are facing one another on each other on the road and all kinds of things. And across the Southwest, the infrastructure has gone so bad. If you are traveling from Akure, for example, to Ekiti, as a young man, I used to do 30 minutes, 35 minutes from Akure to Ekiti, passing through Iju, Itaobolu, Ikere Ekiti. Now you do about 3.5 hours, on that same road, and God saves you if you're able to make it alive or safe, you are not kidnapped or whatever it is. So these things should be of concern. And I believe that if this place had been governed as one region before by a leader who had clear ideas on how to help the people, the young governors, the people who are governing us now, should come together, band together, reason together, and collaborate. They can solve the problem. They can solve the problem of insecurity. Despite the general malaise in the country, this will serve as an oasis in the desert for our country. Right. So let them take advantage of the Dawn Commission. I was part of the group, the identified a renewal group that came with the idea of the Dawn group. We still need to do more under that organization. We will give them the power, we will allow them the resources to work. They have brilliant and bright young men and women who are working under that commission. Let them use them more. Let's look at how do we solve the problem of road construction in the Southwest. How do we align our educational system so that you don't have all of the universities in the Southwest, having departments of Yoruba, having departments of religious studies and philosophy. We can say, okay, you, Ekiti University, devote yourself to this, get yourself adequately, funded to study, to teach this kind of courses. If we don't have water in the Ekiti State, marine and other things could go to Lagos, ICT could go to another place. Let's not dissipate our energy on repeating what Osun is doing in Ekiti and what Ondo is doing in Ogun State. So collaboration is my watchword for the governors of our state. And let's have, a joint manifesto. Even when we do not have a regional government, we can have a joint manifesto, and then let us pursue that manifesto, implement the manifesto to the glory of our people. And I want to say this. I want to say this without, let our governors go back and acquire the books by Chief BABAFEMI Awolowo. This man has expanded ideas and practicals on how to solve the problem of our people, particularly in the Southwest. All we need to alter are just the data, where he talked about 50,000 school pupils across the Southwest in those days. We could now change it to millions and then find a way to solve those problems.
All right.
Our education system is being attacked. You come by university graduates who cannot string together a sentence in English, who cannot help themselves even after having master's degree. If you are traveling from Abuja to Ekiti, and the moment you arrive in Ekiti, you see young men and women playing table tennis and other board games as early as 10 a.m. They are unemployed or underemployed.
Yeah.
What is the solution to these problems? They can come together and find solution to the problems.
All right, Senator, we are pressed for time at this time, but before we let you go, two questions. Number one is a lot of people at this time are watering down the role of media in a functional society, especially new media. Some persons believe that the social media has played a huge role negatively in our society. You are a veteran journalist, you are my senior colleague, and
Yes.
you practiced when social media was not in vogue. So as a journalist, would you say social media is a curse or a blessing to this generation? I mean, recently the police public relations officer, Olumuyiwa Adejobi, actually said that, a lot of things, people are inflaming negativity on social media. So I'd like your take on that very quickly.
Yes, I think, honestly and generally, I'm worried about the Nigerian media. A democracy cannot grow without a very strong media. And what we have now is not strong enough to assist us in growing our democracy. And talking about social media, there is, all institutions have their positive and negative effects. The effect of social media on the psyche of our people is enormous, and something has to be done about it. The celebration of wealth, you go on Instagram, you see a king, the leader of a community, throwing bundles of naira notes and dollars on a musician. The young people who are watching that, we want to be like that, and they are not equipped to produce or do anything, and they have not seen even the traditional ruler producing or making anything to deserve that kind of wealth. So they too want to be rich. They want to go, in front of a popular musician and throw money. And that's why today you are having so many of our young people who are into Yahoo, who are cutting off women's breasts and cutting off their private parts, cutting off the neck of people and harvesting so that they can do juju that will give them money. These are the effects of social media. Something has to be done about this. The way people are parading wealth, people who are neighbors, who are known to you, who you know are not, producing on the farm. They are not manufacturing anything. They are not into any real businesses. They are talking about how they are spending 100 million naira to bury their father, to celebrate their birthday, to do all kinds of funny things. It's having a very, very bad effect and very negative effect on young people. And these young people are aspiring to be like those people. And in the course of aspiring, whatever it is that can provide them that wealth, they are ready to do. So this is a very serious one. Okay. By virtue of the fact that, the media is now available to everybody. In the past, maybe if you look at it, we may have about, 50 editors of media organizations in this country. Today, we have more than 200 million editors. All it requires is for you to have your phone and have 500 data. Then you are a writer, you are a journalist, you are an editor, you are a publisher. You can say what you like, you can lie against people, you can malign people, you can, dish out falsehood and all of that. It's a phenomenon. It's not something that is left to the country, to Nigeria alone. People all over the world are questioning, and they are raising issues around social media. But what I can say is that, and plead, is that let us use social media for good. Let there also be some measure of regulation. I'm not calling for censorship. I should not be saying or hard calling for censorship. There should be some measure of regulation.
All right, sir.
Or the courts should ensure that if you use social media to defame anybody or to spread falsehood, you should pay for it. And that, for me, may help solve some of the problems.
All right. Thank you so much, Senator, for your time this morning. What are you? We'll let you go. If you don't tell us what you are into right now. Writing, you still pursuing some journalistic work? Are you mentioned you're farming, or are you preparing to, gun for a political position in the next future?
Well, right now, I'm sitting back and watching what is happening in the country. Daily, I call my friends who are in government. I keep telling them the truth as I find out from the people. I'm also writing. I have about 4 books in the works that I'm working on. And from perhaps the middle of this year, I will start releasing some of the books. I'm writing about my experience in journalism. I'm writing about my experience in the Senate. I'm writing about my experience in the presidency. I'm even writing a social diary that take account of what I'm seeing and observing around me, of drivers taking advantage of those they are driving, of house girls, house boys, taking advantage of, the decadence in society and all of that. I'm trying to document these things. I'm also doing another book documenting my childhood. So, but my main preoccupation right now that earns me the living is farming and food processing. I'm processing food for export and for sale in the local supermarkets. So that for me, it's been very engaging, and I love it. I'm happy about it. I'm just not happy. I could do more on the farm, both in Ekiti and in Nasarawa, where I have farms. If the security will be right. Yeah.
All right, Senator. Our producers are saying we might have to send you an invoice for this advert that you have just done. But I want to sincerely thank you. I would like to have you one of these days on a broader topic and to look into the vast experience that you have as it concerns governance and leadership in Nigeria. Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure being with you.
BABAFEMI OJUDU, former Senator, Ekiti Central Constituency, former Special Advisor to former President Muhammadu Buhari, and of course, a senior colleague. Thank you so much for your time this morning. All right, such a robust conversation there, Femi.